Tonight on NewsWatch, abortion shocker. A new undercover video exposes a cold-hearted abortionist and what he does to babies who survive.
Plus, Duck Dynasty, the true story of faith and family behind the top reality show on cable.
And Christian heroes, who are the Magnificent Seven and what made them so great? Author Eric Metaxas explains all this and more tonight on NewsWatch. Good evening, I'm Mark Martin.
And I'm Wendy Griffith. A Philadelphia jury begins weighing murder charges today in the trial of abortionist Kermit Gosnell. Silence by the media and the White House has prompted congressional Republicans to action.
Meanwhile, a new undercover video by a pro-life group reveals that at one Washington, D.C. clinic, babies that survive an abortion are left to die. Dale Hurd has the story.
Prosecutors say Kermit Gosnell routinely cut live babies in the back of the neck to sever their spines. Pro-abortion groups have made Gosnell's alleged murder of live children look like an aberration in the abortion industry. But a new undercover video shows a Washington, D.C. abortion doctor telling a 24 weeks pregnant woman he will not give medical care to a baby born alive. This video, released by the pro-life group Live Action, shows a conversation between their investigator and Dr. Cesar Santangelo. Listen to what Dr. Santangelo tells the investigator he would do if the baby survived the procedure.
Technically, legally we would be obligated to help it, to survive, but, it probably wouldn't. It's all in how vigorously you do things to help a fetus survive at this point. We would not help it. Okay. Let's say we wouldn't intubate.
And fresh investigations of abortion clinics in the wake of the Gosnell trial have led to the closures by state officials of a clinic in Ohio and 3 clinics in Maryland. In Delaware, 2 nurses quit an abortion clinic, with one saying, "I couldn't tell you how ridiculously unsafe it was." Troubled by the lack of media coverage in the Gosnell trial, 72 members of Congress have sent a letter to the 3 networks asking them to report it, and they blasted President Obama for his silence.
Mr. President, your silence on this issue is deafening.
The mainstream media has all but gone silent and failed to cover this horrific violence against women.
I think we all recognize if Dr. Gosnell used an AK-47 instead of a scalpel, the media coverage would rival a natural disaster.
President Obama, a vocal supporter of Planned Parenthood, has said he can't comment on the Gosnell case while it's still underway. Dale Hurd, CBN News.
Joining us now is Lila Rose of the group Live Action. Lila, the latest video shows an abortion doctor flouting the law and saying he won't help a baby survive, a baby born alive survive. How common is this practice?
Well, we know from the stories that have emerged from the abortion industry and from the studies done from the UK, for example, the British Journal of Obstetrics and Gynecology, that as many as 1 in 10 children after a 23-week abortion survive the abortion attempt. So the big question is, what does the abortion industry, these abortionists who are being paid up to $10,000 each, what do they do with the survivors of these abortions? And our investigation indicates that there's this corporate knowledge in the abortion industry that they take victims of abortion and they leave them to die, or they put them in jars of toxic solution, these little babies. I mean, in the Bronx clinic we released, the workers saying that they put the baby, if it's still moving, after 24 weeks, a fully formed baby in a jar of toxic solution so that it'll suffocate to death. I mean, this is just, it'll drown. This is just the tip of the iceberg for what's happening in this industry and what we're beginning to release to the public.
Well, we're also hearing not only from the Gosnell trial, but in other states of the terrible sanitary conditions and practices of these clinics. Why aren't states regulating them better?
I think the bigger question is, why are we allowing these abortions in the first place? Even if the clinic is sanitary or if it's a house of horrors like Gosnell's, they're still killing these children, ripping them limb from limb, inserting poison into their hearts, their little beating hearts to make them stop, tearing them out of their mother's uterus, drowning them in jars of toxic solution. This is the face of abortion in America. And we need to say all of this should not be legal, and it should not be something that we allow in our own communities. This is not medicine. This is not choice. This is murder.
What explains the lack of action by the media and Congress to act to regulate this industry?
Part of this is because there are these deeply entrenched abortion interests and this fear that we're going to somehow push back women's rights if we do away with abortion. The reality is women are served better without abortion. Abortion is not empowering for women. It's hurtful to women psychologically, physically, and emotionally. And for us to be living in a society where the so-called feminists say that abortion is somehow going to help us achieve our careers and success, that's an outright lie. Abortion only hurts women. It doesn't help them. And it's time for people to understand what abortion really does to a child so they can see that this is an injustice and something that we should not be tolerating in our society.
All right, Lila Rose of the group Live Action, thanks for joining us.
Thanks.
The Tsarnaev family received more than $100,000 in taxpayer-funded assistance while living in Boston. The Boston Herald reports those benefits came in the form of food stamps, Section 8 housing, and even cash. They were received from 2002 to 2012. The state has handed over more than 500 documents regarding those benefits to a House Post Audit and Oversight Committee. The committee's chairman says he believes the public has the right to know what assistance the Tsarnaevs received. Well, the media are portraying the NBA's Jason Collins as a hero. Monday, he became the first player in a major team sport to announce he's gay. Some even compared him to Jackie Robinson, who broke the color barrier in baseball. So it was somewhat surprising to hear one commentator speak out against homosexuality. Here's what ESPN's Chris Broussard had to say in response to Collins' claims that he's a Christian.
Personally, I don't believe that you can live an openly homosexual lifestyle or and openly premarital sex between heterosexuals. If you're openly living that type of lifestyle, then the Bible says you know them by their fruits. It says that, that's a sin. And if you're openly living in unrepentant sin, whatever it may be, not just homosexuality, adultery, fornication, premarital sex between heterosexuals, whatever it may be, I believe that's walking in open rebellion to God and to Jesus Christ. So I would not characterize that person as a Christian because I don't think the Bible would characterize him as a Christian.
Broussard's comments led to a firestorm of discussion online. Some people called for ESPN to fire him. Others applauded him. Broussard later said he has no objection to Collins or anyone else playing in the NBA.
Could Jason Collins' motives go beyond just living his life truthfully, as he put it? Here with more is CBN News anchor Lee Webb, who spent 10 years as a sports reporter before coming to CBN. Welcome, Lee.
Thank you, Mark. Good to be here.
Now, you think there are two possible motives for this announcement. What's the first one?
Well, the first one could be that he's trying to salvage a declining career as a player. Keep in mind, he was just released by the Washington Wizards, one of the worst teams in the NBA, and he only averaged just over a point per game. He's been in the league for 12 years. Translated, he's not a very good player. But keep in mind that NBA Commissioner David Stern was falling all over himself in praise for Jason Collins' decision to come out of the closet. I believe Stern and the rest of the NBA will be hard-pressed not to find a roster spot for him, for Jason Collins next season.
Second motivation?
Second motivation could be money. Keep in mind that Jason Collins went to Stanford University. From all accounts, he is an intelligent, articulate, and thoughtful human being. Could it be that he's planning to write a book? He could make a lot of money off telling his story. After all, the big media would have us to believe that Jason Collins is the Jackie Robinson of this generation. So I'm just wondering whether or not maybe his motives go beyond just living his life truthfully, as he put it.
All right, Lee Webb, thanks again for your insights.
You're welcome.
Gay rights groups are trying to bar Pastor Greg Laurie from events at the National Day of Prayer because of his biblical stance on homosexuality. The Southern California pastor is set to lead prayer on Capitol Hill and at the Pentagon. Now, a military group that supports gays says Laurie should be barred from the Pentagon because he has said that the Bible calls gay sex sinful. Outservice SLDN says Laurie's appearance would be wrong since gays can now openly serve and even get married in some military chapels. The Human Rights Campaign says the pastor should not be allowed on Capitol Hill either.
Switching gears, Duck Dynasty is the top reality show on cable TV. The show is about a family, their faith, and duck calls. This season's finale made headlines when it even beat out American Idol with young viewers. Jennifer Wishon sat down with the show's stars, Willie and Corey Robertson.
Meet the Robertson clan. They turned duck calls into a multi-million-dollar empire.
The shenanigans of the bearded Robertson men and their pretty wives as they run the family duck call business send viewers flocking to their televisions.
It was so fast we didn't have time to really pay attention to what was happening and how big it was, and I think you kind of get there and you're like, holy cow.
Willie and Corey run the business and were CBN's guests at this year's White House Correspondents' Dinner. Each episode of Duck Dynasty ends with the family praying and breaking bread together.
I think that's the most important thing about the show, and we absolutely love that the A&E kept that in the show and allowed people to see that part about our family, because at the end of the day it is all about sitting down and thanking God for your blessings. Hopefully it's a message to Hollywood that America wants more of that because of the reception that we've gotten. I mean, we hear it all over the place that they love that part of the show.
The Robertson family almost took a different path when Father Phil struggled with alcohol and caring for his young family.
He wasn't just away from the Lord, he was just horribly away, and so he did a bunch of horrible things that were just terrible. And for my mom to stick with him through all that was incredible.
At one point, while on a drinking binge, he told Miss Kay to take their children and leave. She did, but eventually Phil came back.
Yes! He really just went 100% for the Lord and started reading his Bible every day and wanted to teach and wanted to preach and really wanted to turn that around. And so it's very impactful for us as kids to see that type of change. That faith ended up being what was the best thing about our show, I think, was the faith that he brought. And so, instilled that in us, and then we instilled it in our families, and I think that's how it's supposed to work.
Here comes Willie. Here he goes.
Now it's hard for any of the Robertsons to go anywhere without being recognized. They say their godly values help keep them grounded. Their recipe for success is faith, family, and ducks, and people can't get enough of it. As for the beards and long hair,
I was telling Dad at the airport, I said, well, whenever we get done with this, we can always just shave our beards and cut our hair, and we'll be able to walk through and no one know who you are. So we have that out.
Jennifer Wishon, CBN News.
Coming up, keeping the truth alive. Survivors of the Holocaust gather to remember how they made it through one of the greatest atrocities in history.
Ow, my feet hurt. My feet hurt, your feet hurt. White hot pain, I wanna cry. Is there anything I can try?
Why, yes. Introducing Strut Soul Angels, the human shock absorber that helps alleviate foot pain.
The first 10 steps in the morning to the bathroom were excruciating. Within 3 days after I put Struts on, it's been such a relief.
Slipped it on and almost immediately I felt a support, kind of like a pillow underneath my arches.
The Struts Soul Angel provides a great amount of relief and support throughout the course of the day, providing shock absorption and relief of pain.
On your feet without proper support can be painful. Strut Soul Angels promotes better balance, control, and body alignment. Standing in your heels all day is painful, but slip on Struts and you'll enjoy comfort and support 24/7. Struts is so versatile, you'll wear them in every shoe you own, even barefoot.
I'm on my feet all the time. I teach 11 and 12-year-olds. The pain was so much that I knew I had to do something. And with the Struts, I can do my job and enjoy my job.
I usually am on my feet from 8 to 12 hours a day. When I wear my Struts, it's like giving my feet a hug all day.
It's life-changing. I wear them from the minute I get up to the minute I go to bed.
Why pay $400 for custom orthotics?
Now get Strut Soul Angels for just $10. You also get Miracle Foot Repair Cream, absolutely free. Use it to help relieve dry, calloused feet overnight. But wait, call right now and we'll double the offer free. Just pay separate processing and handling. Plus, you get a 100% money-back guarantee. If not completely delighted, send it back. But keep the foot cream as our gift just for trying. You get it all. A $70 value for just $10.
Oh, yes! Love my Struts, love my Struts. The best thing since sliced bread. They heal pain from toes to head. Get yours now, your doctor said.
Struts. Be nice to your feet. Call now.
Call 1-800-787-1580 and get your Struts and Miracle Foot Repair for just $10 and we'll double the offer. That's 1-800-787-1580 or visit getstruts.com.
President Obama today suggested he would consider military action against Syria if the U.S. can confirm President Bashar Assad used chemical weapons against his people. The use of sarin gas is the latest deadly development in Syria's 2-year-old civil war. More than 70,000 people have been killed. But before making decisions about military action, the commander-in-chief wants all the facts.
When I am making decisions about America's national security and the potential for taking additional action in response to chemical weapon use, I've got to make sure I've got the facts. That's what the American people would expect. And if we end up rushing to judgment without hard, effective evidence, then we can find ourselves in a position where we can't mobilize the international community to support what we do.
Mr. Obama says he's using all the tools at his disposal to find out what happened.
Survivors of the Holocaust met for what may have been the last time Monday. Their motivation, the 20th anniversary of the U.S. Holocaust Museum. Heather Sells has more.
Some 1,000 Holocaust survivors and World War II vets came together to remember one of the greatest tragedies of all times.
Do not enter this place without fear, but nor without hope. Fear of what humanity has done to itself by failing for such a long time to save those who were threatened by the common enemy.
Under the direction of Germany's Adolf Hitler, Nazis killed 6 million Jews and 5 million others who were also considered inferior because of race, beliefs, or handicaps. Hitler's henchmen systematically killed these innocents, most notoriously in extermination camps using gas chambers. But miraculously, hundreds of thousands survived and have been able to recount their stories for decades. Now, 68 years after World War II has ended, many have died. And activists wonder what will happen when the eyewitnesses no longer remain, when so-called perceived history becomes received history. At the 20th anniversary gathering for the museum, speakers urged the audience to keep the history alive.
As direct memories fade away, that the records, the pictures, and the stories never die.
The museum has launched a new fundraising campaign to promote awareness, fight anti-Semitism, and counter those who deny the Holocaust. Heather Sells, CBN News.
Up next, 7 men and the secret to their greatness. Find out who they were from the best-selling author Eric Metaxas right after this.
My husband Gary departed for heaven. I was still grieving. And then to find out I had cancer, I began praying, God, how do I do this? Where do I do this? Cancer Treatment Centers of America was the place. Dr. Neelam outlined a plan that would take care of my mind and my body, and she prayed with me.
For Bible-believing Christians, we're able to pray with them in a much deeper way as they begin to really rely upon their faith.
At Cancer Treatment Centers of America, we believe in the power of faith and prayer as indispensable allies in the fight against complex and advanced stage cancer.
I'm back in Telluride on the mountain skiing. I feel strong and healthy.
Advanced medicine and technology.
And I am a survivor.
The warm embrace of the Spirit and the power of prayer.
These are happy tears.
Please go to cancercenter.com/faith. Appointments available now. Cancer Treatment Centers of America. Care that never quits.
If an emergency happened right now, you can have help at the push of a button with Medical Alert.
Remember when I took that fall, Mary?
Oh, yes, that was terrible.
Yes, it was. Help! And I thought, what if you hadn't been there? I ordered my Medical Alert the next day.
I can't describe how safe I feel now with my Medical Alert. You didn't know I was wearing it, did you?
Medical Alert is easy to install, waterproof, and covers you inside your home and out.
It helps me feel safe from fires, break-ins.
And of course, a Medical Alert. And if you don't have a home phone, don't worry. They have that covered.
There's always help at the push of a button. Don't wait till you need it.
Get Medical Alert for less than $1 a day. There are no long-term contracts. Order now and get your second button free. Call for your free brochure.
For your free Medical Alert system with second button free, call 800-575-8507.
In the book Amazing Grace, Eric Metaxas shared how William Wilberforce helped abolish the slave trade in Britain.
In his next book, Bonhoeffer, Metaxas wrote about the German pastor who tried to stop Adolf Hitler. Both books were bestsellers. Now Metaxas wants to tell the world about more heroes. I spoke with him earlier about his new book, 7 Men and the Secret to Their Greatness. Now, your book is about 7 men in history and the secret to their greatness.
Yeah.
You talk about George Washington, William Wilberforce, Dietrich Bonhoeffer, and John Paul II, among others. Is there one characteristic that's in common to their greatness?
Absolutely, but I can't reveal that on the air. Oh, all right. It actually has to do with, in every one of these cases, and this is why I picked these 7 men. People say, why did you pick these 7 men? One thing they have in common is that each of them made a heroic sacrifice. They did something that anybody else would have said, you're crazy, don't do that. Why are you doing that? And they felt it was the right thing to do. And against all odds, with tremendous courage, they did the right thing. In some of these cases, obviously, we got Jackie Robinson. He refuses to fight back. Everybody would say, well, of course you got to fight back. You can't. He does it for the greater good. And I tell that whole story and how he was a profound Christian. That's not really told in the movie. Amazing to get that out. George Washington gives up being king. People don't know that they were trying to, these officers around him were saying, are you crazy? The Congress is not paying our bills and not paying our back pay. You ought to be king, King George I of America. Every American kid needs to know that story. And the main reason I wrote this book, I would say, is because young men especially, we need heroes. We're not giving our young men heroes and role models in the culture.
Let's talk a little bit more about William Wilberforce, who helped abolish the slave trade in Britain. Why is he an inspiration today?
Well, Wilberforce, there is so much. I mean, the movie only touches on his battle to abolish the slave trade, which is a huge thing. They couldn't go into the details in the movie. In my book, I go into all the other stuff he did, which is mind-boggling. You just can't believe when he came to faith, and that's also not so much in the movie, this profound conversion, which suddenly changes everything. He looks at the world and the broken culture of Great Britain in the 18th century and says, where is God? We need to bring God and his love to the poor, not just to the evil of the slave trade to abolish that, but so much else that was going on. And so he put his talents at the service of God at a time when, you know, you cannot even imagine what God was able to accomplish through one man's obedience, through one man's heroic ability, willingness to sacrifice his own personal ambition. He could have been prime minister, just like George Washington. He could have been this. He says no.
Yeah, now Chuck Colson, you mentioned, he established the William Wilberforce Award to the person who exemplifies Wilberforce's passion and principles. This year's recipient is New York Cardinal Timothy Dolan.
Oh, a hero.
Why was he chosen?
Absolute hero. Cardinal Dolan, I'm not Catholic, but I just think that he has been such a hero in terms of speaking up against the administration right now in terms of religious freedom. Cardinal Dolan has spoken up against the HHS mandate. The government is trying to force religious Christians who don't believe in abortion, don't believe in contraceptions in the case of Catholics, trying to force them to pay for insurance that will cover those things. And he's saying, we have religious freedom in America. We will not countenance this. This is the state encroaching, you know, I talk about that in my Bonhoeffer chapter, when the state begins encroaching on the sphere of the church and saying, we don't care what you believe, you will do this. Well, in America, we have religious freedom. And Cardinal Dolan has been a hero. Chuck Colson was the hero in bringing this to everybody's attention through the Manhattan Declaration. And so, to some extent, I follow him in his footsteps on Breakpoint and the Manhattan Declaration Board. And I just think the fact that we gave the Wilberforce Award to Cardinal Dolan just the other day, honestly, it thrills me.
Heroes, men of greatness, but also very humble, too.
Well, you cannot be truly great unless you're humble. And every one of these 7 men evinced tremendous humility. And I have to say, by the way, one of the main reasons I wrote this book, besides wanting to give young men heroes, is that so many people said, like, I can't read a 600-page book on Bonhoeffer, or I'm not going to read a book on Wilberforce. Well, this is the 20-page, the 18-page, you know, synopsis, because it's a crime. If Americans don't know, especially Christians, but if Americans don't know who these men are, you're missing something.
Well, the book is called 7 Men and the Secret of Their Greatness. Eric Metaxas, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Wish you the best on the book.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Your dryer runs forever, and your clothes still come out damp? Now you can speed up your dryer by up to 15 minutes. Introducing the Lint Lizard. It's like a magic wand that cleans deep into any dryer. The flexible Lint Lizard attaches right to any vacuum hose. Look how much lint we got out of this dryer. All this lint that escapes past your lint screen. Yuck! A clogged dryer works harder. All that lint can even burn out your motor. Or worse, it can start a dangerous vent fire. It's a full 40 inches long and cleans deep into your vent system, grabbing all the packed-in lint that's choking your dryer. After a quick cleaning with the Lint Lizard, your dryer vent is clear, making it work less and run more efficiently. Old-fashioned lint brushes pull out some lint, and the lint gets everywhere. The Lint Lizard cleans deeper and sends the lint right into your vac bag. Vacuuming between machines and under appliances is a snap. Take it outdoors to vac your outside vent. So before you spend a fortune on costly repairs, order your Lint Lizard for just $10.99. Call right now and you can double your order. And that's not all. We'll also include the Dust Lizard. It attaches to any vac and adjusts to any position. The Dust Lizard goes where no other attachment can. Clean delicate electronics, tedious air vents, tiny tile crevices, crumbs from corners, dirt from slider tracks, places you could never vacuum before, even expensive sculptures and intricate chandeliers. Plus, the Lint Lizard comes with a money-back guarantee. If you're not completely satisfied, return them and keep the Dust Lizard. You get it all, 2 Lint Lizards and the Dust Lizard for $10.99. Call now and find out about free shipping.
Call 1-800-373-2150 and get your Lint Lizard. But call now and you can get a special offer on a second Lint Lizard and the Dust Lizard with your order. So call 1-800-373-2150 and find out about free shipping. That's 1-800-373-2150. Call now.
Hello? Is this thing on? Hey, kids, do you love games? And do you love discovering things? Well, do ya?
Then you're gonna love this. It's the new free Superbook Kids Bible app. You can play games, watch videos, find answers to your questions, and a whole lot more. The new Superbook Kids Bible app. Free downloads available on iTunes now.
Welcome back. Camden, New Jersey made headlines this year, but not for a good reason.
Yeah, it's been labeled the country's poorest and most violent city. But tonight, these young ladies will shine a light on why Camden is among America's most talented. The Camden Sophisticated Sisters drill team will perform live on ABC's Dancing with the Stars. We were with them last week as they rehearsed inside the city's water tower.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited for Dancing with the Stars. Words can't describe. California will be the farthest place I've been. It's across the country, and I'm just so excited. I'm so blessed. I would have never thought 4 months ago that I'll be going to California to dance on live television. That's mind-blowing. And I don't know if it registered yet, but I don't know. I just can't wait. I just can't wait.
She's a little bit excited.
Yeah.
And stay tuned to CBN News for more of the drill team's amazing story in the days ahead. How cute was she?
Yeah.
She still can't hardly believe it.
I know, but maybe God will use that team to kind of turn around that town.
Oh, yeah. We pray that they do a great job tonight. We know they will. And that's going to do it for this edition of NewsWatch.
Yeah, thanks for watching. Appreciate your time. Have a good night.
Good night.